what is America? And it is a question that now has landed on the doorsteps of every American, every person who resides in this country.
This week, we celebrate Juneteenth, an American holiday marking the 156th anniversary of the end of slavery in America. And while slavery ended over a century and a half ago, the fight for civil rights and equality continues today. Every year, Northwest Now takes a closer look at race and equality in our country, and locally, the case of Manny Ellis, who died in Tacoma police custody last year, remains in the headlines, reminding us that civil rights and equality are still in question even here in Western Washington.
Well, I don't know where in the police manual it says that you go to a situation and duke it out with the citizens. What I know about policing is that you go there to de-escalate the process, not to say who's going to win a fight.
Do black men need to be afraid in Tacoma?
I think black men need to have a significant level of fear in Tacoma, in the state of Washington, in America. The social constructs that have been developed around African American black men really put them at risk when it comes to any situation or altercation.
We should mention you're the newly elected senator to the 28th district. So does this have you thinking about any legislation, any modifications or beefing up of I-940 that mandates outside investigations? I know it's early and you were just put into the seat. What's your thought process going into session?
Thank you. It is early, but I will tell you that police accountability is a priority for me. And I know it will be a priority for our state legislature. And, for me, that means fighting really hard for increased transparency and accountability and training, figuring out the loopholes in I-940 and what we can do in legislation to be more accountable in the ways that we are handling these types of cases. It's our responsibility to make sure that we are, saving the lives of our community members. And I don't want to be a part of or participate in any system that is taking the lives of community members.
The fight and struggle for civil rights and social justice have been going on since the 1960s. But one national advocate recently told host Tom Layson that those struggles may have actually led to a backlash when it comes to white nationalism.
That the success of the 1960s civil rights movement created a backlash. This backlash is known as white nationalism. It was the response to the victories of the 1960s civil rights movement. It responded by trying to maintain the idea of white superiority. It couldn't acknowledge that it had lost a political struggle to other Black Americans.
It's not news that our country has become deeply divided on just about every important issue, including civil rights and social justice. One University of Washington professor recently told host Tom Layson that our country's political climate is actually punctuating these differences.
I think this has a real potential to be an inflection point, not only, for the country and for Black people. And I say it's an inflection point that has a great potential to be that, simply because, the threat that Trump and Trumpism poses to the Black community really sort of drove Black turnout. When you really think about who the real patriots are of this period, if you think about the coronavirus and the disproportionate threat that it poses against the Black community, or that it is vis-a-vis the Black community, and yet we still got out and voted in the numbers that we got out and voted, that just tells you the sense of existential threat that the Black community felt from Trump and feels from Trumpism.
Next year, Washington State will officially recognize Juneteenth as a state holiday. But what everybody needs to keep in mind is that the fight for social justice and civil rights goes beyond government recognition and designated holidays. It starts with every single one of us if things are to get better and this country is to become free and just for all. That'll do it for this edition of Northwest Now Digital First. I'm Chris Anderson. Thanks for watching.